Welcome back, English learners. I'm Peter here to help you get more fluent.
And I'm Emily.
Today,
Let's get comfy and start practicing together.
we're diving into something everyone experiences no matter where you are. Today, we're diving in the world of colds, allergies, and flu.
Oh, interesting.
We'll go beyond just the basic phrases so you can confidently talk about your symptoms
Me too.
and understand what others are saying about their sniffles and sneezes.
This isn't just a podcast.
Right.
It's a full lesson on how to have natural English conversations.
I like it.
It's real English in action, so make the most of this content.
Ooh,
Watch until the end to expand your vocabulary.
Yeah.
And get plenty of tips on how to talk about colds and allergies with confidence.
That's great because it's amazing how even seemingly simple topics like colds and flu can reveal so much about how we use language.
Totally.
Okay, so imagine this. You're abroad, feeling like death warmed over, and you desperately need some cold medicine.
Right.
But how do you even begin to explain how awful you feel in English?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's a nightmare, right? Well, don't sweat it.
Okay.
Today's deep dive is going to be your secret weapon for all things sniffles and sneezes.
Cool.
We're taking a really popular English learning podcast episode,
Mhm.
and we're going to squeeze out all the good stuff, all the juicy language tips,
Love it.
so you can confidently talk about colds and allergies like a native speaker.
Awesome.
You know, what struck me about this podcast is it doesn't just give you a list of words and call it a day.
No, not at all.
It really gets into how native speakers actually have conversations about being sick.
Yeah, it's all about the flow, those little phrases that make you sound natural.
Exactly. It's like the difference between reading a textbook and having a chat with a friend.
Right, exactly.
We're going to listen to a conversation between two native English speakers,
Okay.
Alex and Sarah.
All right.
They're chatting about dealing with those pesky cold symptoms. So listen closely. It's like a language treasure hunt.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, so let's jump right in.
All right.
Achoo! Achoo!
Hey, Sarah, you don't look too well. Are you all right?
I think I'm coming down with a cold. My nose is so congested, and I have a bit of a sore throat.
Oh no, do you have a fever too?
No, luckily no fever, but I've been sneezing and coughing all day. My throat feels scratchy.
You should try to rest and drink plenty of water to stay hydrated. Maybe take some over-the-counter medicine for the congestion.
Good idea. I'll probably get some nasal spray too. Hopefully it clears up soon.
Take care of yourself, Sarah. And if it doesn't get better, maybe see a doctor.
Yeah, so let's unpack some of that.
Okay.
Starting with Sarah's statement. I think I'm coming down with a cold.
Okay. I think I'm coming down with a cold. I think I'm coming down with a cold.
Right, so this one sounds pretty straightforward, but there's a little bit more to it.
Okay.
So this is what we call an idiom. An idiom is a phrase that has a meaning different from the literal words themselves. So coming down with a cold doesn't mean you're physically descending from somewhere, right?
Okay.
It's a way to say that you're starting to feel those symptoms of a cold.
So coming down with a cold means like I'm starting to feel sick.
Exactly, like you're in the early stages.
Coming down with a cold. Okay. Got it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then notice how Sarah follows that up with, my nose is so congested and I have a bit of a sore throat.
My nose is so congested and I have a bit of a sore throat.
Right, she's listing those specific symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
So congested means your nose is blocked, stuffy,
Okay.
making it hard to breathe.
Yeah.
And a sore throat, that's that painful, scratchy feeling.
And she says, a bit of a sore throat? What's that? A bit of?
That's a good point. That's a way of kind of downplaying the severity. Like, it's not too bad yet.
It's not too bad yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more polite than saying, my throat is killing me.
Right.
So we're looking at those subtle nuances of the language.
Yeah.
Now let's jump to Alex's question. Do you have a fever too?
Do you have a fever too? You have a fever too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's a natural follow-up, right? When someone says they might be getting sick.
Exactly. And you also notice how he starts with, oh no.
Oh, yeah.
That shows concern.
Oh, I see.
It's a way of expressing empathy.
So it's like saying, oh, I'm sorry you're not feeling well.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so what does Sarah say in response to the fever question? She says, no, luckily no fever, but I've been sneezing and coughing all day. My throat feels scratchy.
No, luckily no fever, but I've been sneezing and coughing all day. Sneeze? This is the sound of a sneeze.
It's triggered by irritants in your nasal passages. So, things like dust pollen, even pepper. These things can irritate the lining of your nose. And that sets off this whole chain reaction that ultimately culminates in a sneeze.
So it's almost like our nose is trying to say, like, get out of here.
Exactly, and it does so with incredible force. Did you know that a sneeze can actually propel droplets at speeds of up to 100 miles per hour?
Really?
That's one reason why covering your sneeze is so important, because those droplets can travel pretty far, and they have the potential to spread germs to other people.
100 miles an hour. I had no idea. It's like a tiny hurricane erupting from our faces. All right, well, let's move on to coughing. Emily defines it as cough. Here's the sound of a cough. Coughing is when you push air out of your lungs to clear your throat.
So, similar to a sneeze, I guess, in that it involves expelling air, but from a different part of our respiratory system, right?
Precisely. Coughing also serves as a protective mechanism. But instead of originating in the nasal passages like a sneeze, coughing starts in the lungs and airways. It's your body's way of clearing out mucus irritants, or even foreign objects that might have gotten lodged in those areas.
So both sneezing and coughing are kind of like our body's cleanup crew then, just working to keep our respiratory systems free of any unwanted guests.
That's a great analogy. Sarah uses the phrase, scratchy, scratchy, scratchy.
Scratchy is just a more vivid way to describe that rough feeling in your throat.
Perfect.
Now, Sarah also mentions a sore throat, which is that scratchy, painful feeling when you swallow. Repeat after me, sore throat.
Sore throat. Got it.
It paints a clearer picture.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's hear what advice Alex gives her to feel better.
Okay.
He says, you should try to rest and drink plenty of water to stay hydrated. Maybe take some over-the-counter medicine for the congestion.
You should try to rest and drink plenty of water to stay hydrated. Maybe take some over-the-counter medicine for the congestion. You try to rest and drink plenty of water to stay hydrated. Maybe take some over-the-counter medicine for the congestion. Wow, packed with helpful advice.
It is.
Yeah.
And notice how he emphasizes staying hydrated. That means drinking enough fluids, especially water. It's so crucial when you're sick.
Yeah.
You know your body loses fluids more rapidly.
Oh, true. And over-the-counter medicine, what does that mean?
Over-the-counter medicine refers to medications you can buy without a doctor's prescription.
So readily available, right, at a pharmacy.
Exactly. No need for a special doctor visit.
Over-the-counter, over-the-counter, over-the-counter. Okay, got it.
So what's Sarah's response to all these suggestions? She says, good idea. I'll probably get some nasal spray too. Hopefully it clears up soon.
Good idea. I'll probably get some nasal spray too. Good idea. I'll probably get some nasal spray too. Hopefully it clears up soon. Okay, nasal spray. What is that?
Nasal spray is a liquid medication you spray directly into your nostrils.
Okay.
It helps to shrink swollen blood vessels in your nasal passages.
So it helps you breathe.
Exactly. Helps you breathe easier. And notice she uses the phrase clears up.
Oh, yeah.
That means she's hoping her symptoms will go away, improve.
Yeah, clears up, clears up, clears up.
Okay.
Got it.
Perfect. Now let's hear how Alex wraps up the conversation.
All right.
He says, take care of yourself, Sarah, and if it doesn't get better, maybe see a doctor.
Take care of yourself, Sarah, and if it doesn't get better, maybe see a doctor. Take care of yourself, Sarah, and if it doesn't get better, maybe see a doctor. Okay, that sounds like a polite way to end the conversation while still showing he cares.
Exactly. It's like a gentle reminder to seek professional advice if it doesn't get better.
Yeah. Okay, I feel like we've really broken down that conversation. I'm already picking up on those subtle expressions.
I think so too.
And remember, this isn't just a podcast.
Right.
It's a full lesson on how to have natural English conversations.
I like it.
It's real English in action, so make the most of this content.
Ooh,
Watch until the end to expand your vocabulary.
Yeah.
And get plenty of tips on how to talk about colds and allergies with confidence. So stay with us. We'll be right back with more vocabulary and insights into colds, allergies, and flu.
And we are back. Now, the podcast then takes us to a simulated doctor's visit.
Oh, I love that part.
Me too. It's brilliant because you get to hear these phrases in action.
Like a real-world example.
Yeah, and the doctor asks things like, how long have you had these symptoms? And are you staying hydrated? These aren't just random questions, are they?
Nope, not at all.
What are they getting at?
Well, think about when you actually go to the doctor.
Okay.
They always want to know, like, the timeline of your misery.
Right.
And if you're taking care of yourself, drinking enough fluids.
To see if you're being a responsible patient.
Exactly. It helps them piece everything together.
Makes total sense.
Definitely.
So let's do a role play.
Ooh, fine.
where we simulate, like, a visit to the doctor.
I like it. Okay, so I'll be the patient.
You be the patient?
You'll be the doctor.
I'll be the doctor.
And we'll use all the language we've learned so far.
Exactly. Pay attention to the language used. It's all super valuable for navigating these real-life situations.
Okay, Doc, I'm ready for my checkup.
All right. Good morning. How can I help you today?
Well, doctor, I've been sneezing a lot, and my throat feels really sore. It's been like this for a few days now.
I see. Have you had a fever at all, or are you feeling congested?
No fever, luckily.
Mhm.
But my nose is completely stuffed up. And I've been coughing a lot, too, especially at night.
All right. And how long have these symptoms been bothering you?
It started about 3 days ago, and honestly, it seems to be getting worse.
I understand. Besides the sneezing, sore throat, and congestion, have you noticed any other symptoms? Perhaps chills, body aches, or fatigue?
Yes, actually, I do feel quite tired. And I had some chills yesterday evening.
Okay, it's important to stay hydrated, especially when you're feeling under the weather. Are you making sure to drink plenty of fluids?
I'm trying, doctor, but it's so painful to swallow with this sore throat.
That's understandable. Have you tried any over-the-counter medications to help with your symptoms?
Not yet, doctor. I wasn't sure what to take. There are so many options at the pharmacy. It's overwhelming.
I understand. In that case, I recommend a nasal spray to help with the congestion, and some lozenges might soothe your sore throat. You could also consider using a humidifier to add moisture to the air. That can help with the coughing.
Thank you, doctor. Should I also be taking some sort of cold medicine?
Yes, a multi-symptom cold medicine that addresses congestion, cough, and sore throat would be beneficial. But if your symptoms don't improve within a few days, or if they worsen, please come back to see me for a follow-up.
I will, doctor. Thank you so much for your help.
You're welcome. Remember, rest is crucial. And don't hesitate to contact us if you have any further questions or concerns.
Wow, that felt so real.
It did, didn't it?
It's amazing how much vocabulary we just covered.
We did pack a lot in.
Yeah, we did.
But let's break it down, make
Yeah.
sure we understand all those nuances and, how to use these phrases with confidence.
Okay, I'm ready to analyze.
Excellent. So where should we begin?
Let's start with your opening line as the doctor. Good morning. How can I help you today? It sounds simple, but I bet there's more to it.
You're absolutely right. That phrase sets the tone for the whole interaction. It's polite, professional, and it signals that the doctor is ready to listen.
It's also welcoming. It makes the patient feel comfortable.
Exactly. And notice how I, as the doctor, didn't immediately ask for your name.
Oh, yeah, you did.
In English-speaking cultures, it's common to let the patient take the lead.
So give them control, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, now let's move on to your description of your symptoms. You said, well, doctor, I've been sneezing a lot, and my throat feels really sore. It's been like this for a few days now.
Well, doctor, I've been sneezing a lot, and my throat feels really sore. It's been like this for a few days now. Well, doctor, I've been sneezing a lot, and my throat feels really sore. It's been like this for a few days now.
Right, so you were clear and concise,
Mm-hmm.
highlighting those most bothersome symptoms.
Yeah, and I added, it's been like this for a few days to, establish the timeline.
Exactly, that helps understand the progression, right?
Right.
Okay, now my next question was, have you had a fever at all, or are you feeling congested?
Have you had a fever at all, or are you feeling congested?
Oh.
Have you had a fever at all, or are you feeling congested? So those are two common symptoms.
Yeah, associated with cold.
So it makes sense to ask about them early on.
Exactly. It helps me narrow down those potential causes.
Okay, and my response was, no fever, luckily, but my nose is completely stuffed up. And I've been coughing a lot, too, especially at night.
No fever, luckily, but my nose is completely stuffed up. And I've been coughing a lot, too, especially at night. No fever, luckily, but my nose is completely stuffed up. And I've been coughing a lot, too, especially at night. You described your symptoms very clearly and accurately. You used vivid language, like completely stuffed up.
I wanted to emphasize how bad it was.
It worked.
And I added that the coughing is worse at night,
Yeah.
which might mean it affects my sleep.
Right. That's important information for the doctor.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on to my next question. I asked, all right, and how long have these symptoms been bothering you?
All right, and how long have these symptoms been bothering you? All right, and how long have these symptoms been bothering you? Right, another key question to establish the duration.
Exactly. The duration helps assess those potential causes.
Okay, and I replied with, it started about 3 days ago, and it seems to be getting worse, honestly.
It started about 3 days ago, and it seems to be getting worse, honestly.
Perfect. You provided a clear time frame,
Hmm.
and you added, it seems to be getting worse, which is crucial information.
Yeah, because it could be escalating.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that leads perfectly into my next question. I asked, besides the sneezing, sore throat, and congestion, have you noticed any other symptoms? Perhaps chills, body aches, or fatigue?
Besides the sneezing, sore throat, and congestion, have you noticed any other symptoms? Perhaps chills, body aches, or fatigue? Besides the sneezing, sore throat, and congestion, have you noticed any other symptoms? Perhaps chills, body aches, or fatigue? So you're digging deeper here.
Yeah.
Trying to get a complete picture
Right.
of your overall health.
And I said, yes, actually. I do feel quite tired, and I had some chills yesterday evening.
Yes, actually, I do feel quite tired, and I had some chills yesterday evening. Yes, actually, I do feel quite tired, and I had some chills yesterday evening.
You confirmed those additional symptoms,
Mm-hmm.
which suggests you might be dealing with a full-blown cold.
Yeah, I was really trying to lay it on thick.
It worked.
Okay.
Now let's focus on my next question. Okay, it's important to stay hydrated, especially when you're feeling under the weather. Are you making sure to drink plenty of fluids?
Okay, it's important to stay hydrated, especially when you're feeling under the weather. Are you making sure to drink plenty of fluids? Okay, it's important to stay hydrated, especially when you're feeling under the weather. Are you making sure to drink plenty of fluids? That's common advice, right?
Yeah, very common.
In English-speaking cultures, like when you're sick.
Exactly. And staying hydrated helps your body fight off that illness. Okay, but I mentioned, I'm trying, but it's so painful to swallow with this sore throat.
I'm trying, but it's so painful to swallow with this sore throat. I'm trying, but it's so painful to swallow with this sore throat. That's a valid concern. Sore throats can make it really difficult to drink.
It's true. And then I asked, have you tried any over-the-counter medications to help with your symptoms?
Have you tried any over-the-counter medications to help with your symptoms? Have you tried any over-the-counter medications to help with your symptoms? Right. That question helps to determine if you've taken any steps to alleviate your symptoms.
Okay, so my honest answer was, not yet, doctor. I wasn't sure what to take. There are so many different options at the pharmacy, it's overwhelming.
Not yet, doctor. I wasn't sure what to take. There are so many different options at the pharmacy, it's overwhelming. Not yet, doctor. I wasn't sure what to take. There are so many different options at the pharmacy, it's overwhelming. Totally relatable. Drugstores can be overwhelming.
Especially when you don't feel well. So what advice did you give me?
I said, in that case, I recommend a nasal spray to help with the congestion, and some lozenges might soothe your sore throat. You could also consider using a humidifier to add moisture to the air, which can help with the coughing.
In that case, I recommend a nasal spray to help with the congestion, and some lozenges might soothe your sore throat. You could also consider using a humidifier to add moisture to the air, which can help with the coughing. In that case, I recommend a nasal spray to help with the congestion, and some lozenges might soothe your sore throat. You could also consider using a humidifier to add moisture to the air, which can help with the coughing. So, nasal spray for the stuffy nose, lozenges for the sore throat, and a humidifier for the cough.
Exactly. Those are all common remedies. And it's good to know those English words so you can find them in a store.
Absolutely. And then I asked, thank you, doctor. Should I also be taking some sort of cold medicine?
Thank you, doctor. Should I also be taking some sort of cold medicine?
Thank you, doctor. Should I also be taking some sort of cold medicine? It's a great way to clarify, right?
Yeah. To make sure you understand those instructions.
Right. And you replied, yes, a multi-symptom cold medicine that addresses congestion, cough, and sore throat would be beneficial. But if your symptoms don't improve within a few days, or if they worsen, please come back to see me for a follow-up.
Yes, a multi-symptom cold medicine that addresses congestion, cough, and sore throat would be beneficial. But if your symptoms don't improve within a few days, or if they worsen, please come back to see me for a follow-up. Yes, a multi-symptom cold medicine that addresses congestion, cough, and sore throat would be beneficial. But if your symptoms don't improve within a few days, or if they worsen, please come back to see me for a follow-up. So, recommending a specific type of medicine, but also emphasizing that follow-up care.
Which is important if you're not familiar with the healthcare system.
Exactly.
All right, then I express my gratitude. I will, doctor. Thank you so much for your help. And you ended with, you're welcome. Remember, rest is crucial, and don't hesitate to contact us if you have any further questions or concerns.
I will, doctor. Thank you so much for your help. I will, doctor. Thank you so much for your help. And you're welcome. Remember, rest is crucial, and don't hesitate to contact us if you have any further questions or concerns. You're welcome. Remember, rest is crucial, and don't hesitate to contact us if you have any further questions or concerns. That just highlights the importance of politeness,
Yeah.
gratitude in those healthcare interactions.
Okay, so we've broken down that role play.
We have.
And remember, this isn't just a podcast.
Right.
It's a full lesson on how to have natural English conversations.
I like it.
It's real English in action, so make the most of this content.
Ooh,
Watch until the end to expand your vocabulary.
Yeah.
And get plenty of tips on how to talk about colds and allergies with confidence. So stay with us. We'll be right back with more vocabulary and insights into colds, allergies, and flu. Okay, so we've broken down that role play.
We have.
But how can we help our listeners practice this vocabulary?
Oh, that's a good point. Let's do a rapid-fire round of questions and answers.
Oh, fun.
All focused on common cold symptoms. I'll ask the questions, and you try to answer naturally.
Okay, all right.
Like you would in a real conversation.
Right, bring on the questions.
Okay, first one. Do you have a fever?
No, I don't have a fever.
Excellent. Are you sneezing a lot?
Yes, I can't stop sneezing. My nose is running like a faucet.
Perfect. Now tell me, does your throat hurt?
Yes, it's really sore and scratchy. It hurts to swallow even water.
Great job. And how are your energy levels? Are you feeling tired?
Yes, I feel completely exhausted. This cold has really taken it out of me.
You're doing fantastic. For how long have you been feeling under the weather?
I've been feeling sick for about 3 days now. It started with a tickle in my throat, and then bam, full-blown cold symptoms.
Impressive. Can you list all the symptoms you've been experiencing?
Well, I've got the sore throat, the cough, the congestion, the sneezing, the chills,
Yeah.
and I'm just feeling completely wiped out.
Amazing. Now, what do you usually do when you're feeling this way? What are your go-to remedies?
I try to rest as much as possible, drink lots of fluids like water and herbal tea, and I might take some over-the-counter medicine if the symptoms are really bad.
Fantastic. Have you taken any medicine specifically for this cold?
Yes, I'm taking some cough syrup to help with the coughing and some decongestant tablets for the stuffy nose.
Wonderful. You mentioned drinking fluids. Are you making sure to stay well hydrated?
Yes, I'm constantly sipping on water, tea, and even some broth to keep those fluids up.
Excellent. And lastly, what are some things that really help you feel better when you're battling a cold?
Getting plenty of sleep is a must. Also, drinking warm liquids like tea with honey really soothes my throat.
Yeah.
And using a humidifier at night helps me breathe easier and cough less.
You aced it. You're a natural at talking about colds in English.
Thanks. I actually feel much more confident now. Like I could easily explain my symptoms.
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah.
Now that we've conquered the vocabulary and conversation skills for talking about colds, let's shift gears, okay?
Okay.
And dive into the world of allergies.
Sounds good.
Get ready to describe those pest use symptoms and, navigate those allergy-related conversations like a pro.
All right, bring on those allergy adventures. So we've covered a ton of ground here, but this is just the tip of the iceberg, right?
Absolutely. We've laid the foundation, but there's so much more to explore. Stay tuned for part 2. Welcome back to the deep dive, where we're getting up close and personal with the language of allergy. Being able to talk about allergies in English, it isn't just complaining about pollen, it's about navigating situations, like explaining why you're sniffling or asking a friend for a tissue.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Where do we even start with this sniffle fest?
Well, like any good language adventure, we need to pack our vocabulary toolkit first, but don't worry, we're not opening any textbooks.
Music to my ears.
Absolutely. We're going to be looking at a real-life conversation about allergies and breakdown, not just what they're saying, but how they're saying it.
Exactly. It's all about getting comfortable with the kind of vocabulary and expressions that you'd hear in an everyday chat
Right.
about allergies.
And for all of you out there learning English,
Yeah.
we're going to make it extra easy for you by repeating key words and phrases throughout the episode.
Yes.
Trust me, repetition is your secret weapon for mastering new language.
Repetition, repetition, repetition. I
Yeah.
love it. Okay, so before we hear the conversation, let's quickly go over some of the key vocabulary.
Okay, sound good?
Runny nose.
Runny nose.
Runny nose. Say it with me, everyone.
Runny nose.
It's exactly what it sounds like when your nose is well running.
It is. And next up, itchy eyes.
Itchy eyes.
Itchy eyes.
Itchy eyes.
That feeling when your eyes are irritated and you just want to scratch them.
Yeah.
Pollen often causes those.
Pollen. Those tiny particles released by plants, especially in the spring.
Yes. especially in the spring.
Oh, pollen, the bane of my existence.
They know.
Okay, now we have antihistamines.
Antihistamines.
Antihistamines, antihistamines, antihistamines.
Antihistamines.
They're medications that can help reduce those allergy symptoms.
Right.
Okay.
Let's not forget congestion.
Congestion.
Having congestion, that stuffy feeling when your nose is blocked.
Yes. And finally, we have nasal spray.
Nasal spray.
Nasal spray. Nasal spray.
A lifesaver for clearing up that congestion.
All right. I think we're ready to jump into the conversation.
Okay, let's do it.
We're going to listen to a chat between Lily and Jack.
Okay.
Jack is the one struggling with allergies. So pay close attention to how he describes what he's going through.
All right.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, so we've got our allergy arsenal. Runny nose, itchy eyes, pollen antihistamines, and nasal spray. Did we miss anything?
I think you've nailed it. But remember, vocabulary is just the first step. To truly master English, you need to see how these words work in conversations.
You're right. It's like having all the ingredients but not knowing how to bake the cake. So what kind of conversational recipe are we cooking up today?
Imagine two friends, Alex and Lily, bumping into each other. Lily, unfortunately, is having a full-blown allergy attack.
Oh no, poor Lily. This is about to get relatable. I'm all ears.
Here's how the conversation starts. Okay, so let's imagine you're chatting with a friend who's really struggling with their allergies.
Okay.
We'll listen in on another conversation, this time between Alex and Lily.
Right.
And they're discussing those, those all too familiar allergy symptoms. Again, listen for those key phrases and vocabulary words they use.
Okay, sounds good. Let's hear it.
Hey, Jack, do you have allergies? You look like you're sneezing a lot.
Yeah, I have seasonal allergies. The pollen in spring really makes my nose runny and my eyes itchy.
That sounds tough. Do you take anything for it?
I usually take antihistamines and use eye drops for the itching.
I hope you get better soon.
Thank you.
Hey, Jack, you look like you're struggling. Are your allergies acting up?
Okay.
So let's pause there.
Okay.
Hey, Jack, you look like you're struggling. Are your allergies acting up? So first off, Lily is expressing concern for Jack.
Right.
She notices he doesn't look well,
Yeah.
and she uses a really common phrase, acting up.
Right. Acting up.
Yeah.
It means that something is causing trouble or becoming more intense.
Yeah.
In this case, Jack's allergies.
Okay.
Acting up, acting up, acting up. It's a very useful phrase to know.
It really is.
Yeah.
Now let's hear how Jack responds.
Okay.
Yeah. The pollen count is so high today. My nose is runny and my eyes are so itchy.
And poor Jack.
Yeah. Yeah, the pollen count is so high today.
Yeah.
My nose is runny and my eyes are so itchy. So he's confirming that his allergies are bothering him.
Right.
And look, he's using those vocabulary words we just talked about.
Yes.
Runny nose and itchy eyes.
Exactly. See how they fit so naturally in the conversation.
Yeah.
Runny nose,
Yeah.
itchy eyes, itchy eyes.
Perfect.
It's all about using the right words in the right context.
Exactly. All right, back to the conversation.
Okay.
That sounds awful. Are you taking anything for it?
Okay.
That sounds awful. Are you taking anything for it? Now Lily is showing empathy.
Right.
That sounds awful. That sounds awful.
Yeah,
It's a nice way to show you understand someone is feeling bad.
absolutely.
And then she asks a really common question when someone's not feeling well. Are you taking anything for it?
Right. She's asking if he's taking any medication to help with his allergies.
Yeah.
It's a polite and indirect way of asking about medication.
I like it. Let's see what Jack says. I took some antihistamines, but they haven't kicked in yet. I might try a nasal spray later.
Okay.
So Jack's telling Lily that he's already taken some antihistamine.
Right.
Antihistamines, remember.
Yeah.
Those are allergy medication.
Exactly. And he uses a great expression here, kicked in.
Yes, kicked in.
Kicked in, kicked in, kicked in. It means that the medication hasn't started working yet.
Yeah.
Like it hasn't had its full effect.
So Jack's still waiting for relief.
Right?
And he also mentions trying a nasal spray later.
Yes.
Nasal spray. Nasal spray.
Remember we talked about that. It's that handy little spray that can help clear up that pesky congestion.
Yes, it is. All right, let's hear what Lily says next.
Okay.
Those sprays can really help with congestion. Are you staying indoors today?
Okay.
Those sprays can really help with congestion. Are you staying indoors today? Okay. She's affirming that nasal sprays can indeed help with congestion.
Yeah.
Congestion.
Yeah.
Congestion. Congestion. Remember, that's that blocked up feeling?
Yes, that's right.
And she's also giving him some practical advice.
Right.
Staying indoors can help minimize exposure to pollen, especially on days when the pollen count is high.
Absolutely.
Smart. Okay, what does Jack say to that?
Let's see.
I'll try to stay inside, but I have to run some errands first. Hopefully the medicine starts working soon.
Okay.
I'll try to stay inside, but I have to run some errands first.
Yeah.
Hopefully the medicine starts working soon. So Jack would love to stay inside,
Yeah.
but he's got things to do.
Right.
He has to run some errands.
Yeah.
Run some errands, run some errands. It means he needs to go out and take care of some things.
Exactly.
And he ends with a hopeful note.
Yeah.
He's really hoping those antihistamines will kick in soon.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think we can all relate to that feeling.
Definitely.
Okay, let's hear Lily's final response.
All right.
Take care, Jack. Allergies can be so frustrating, but you're handling it well.
Okay.
Take care, Jack. Allergies can be so frustrating, but you're handling it well. She's saying goodbye and wishing him well with a classic take care. But I also love how she acknowledges that allergies can be really frustrating, yet still encourages him by saying he's handling it well.
Yeah, it's a nice way to show support and empathy.
Absolutely. All right, so we've covered quite a bit of ground here.
We have.
We've listened to the conversation and started breaking down some key vocabulary and expressions.
Yeah.
Exactly. Runny nose, itchy eyes, pollen, antihistamines, congestion, nasal spray acting up, kicked in, run some errands.
Wow.
Make sure to repeat those words and phrases.
Yes.
The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
Absolutely. Now, in the next part of our deep dive,
Yes.
we're going to go even deeper into this conversation.
Okay.
We'll explore the nuances of what Lily and Jack are saying, looking at those subtle meanings and intentions behind their words.
Sounds good.
It's going to be fascinating.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
See you next time.
See you then, though. Welcome back, everyone. Let's dive right back into our conversation about allergies. Exploring how Lily and Jack use language to express those all too familiar allergy struggles.
Okay, all right. So we've gone over some of the key vocabulary,
We have.
but now I'm really interested in looking at the subtleties of their conversation.
Yes.
Like what's going on beneath the surface?
Exactly. It's those hidden layers of meaning that make language so fascinating.
Yeah.
For example, remember how Lily asked, "Are you taking anything for it?" Instead of something more direct like, "What medicine are you taking?"
Yeah, I noticed that too. It seemed very polite, like she was being mindful of Jack's privacy.
Precisely. It reflects a common cultural norm in English-speaking societies where direct questions about medication can sometimes be seen as intrusive.
Interesting. So even though she's clearly concerned about Jack, she's using a more indirect question to respect his personal space.
You got it.
Okay.
And Jack's response is equally nuanced.
Yeah,
He could have just said, "Yeah, I'm taking antihistamines," but he adds, "They haven't kicked in yet."
true. That little detail tells us a lot, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It reveals a bit of frustration, like he's still waiting for those antihistamines to do their magic. It also subtly hints at the unpredictable nature of allergies, that waiting game for relief.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like he's sharing that extra bit of information to show he's still hoping for relief.
Yeah.
And maybe even connect with Lily over that shared experience of dealing with allergies.
What is amazing how much meaning can be packed into a simple phrase.
It really is.
Now, shifting gears a bit, remember when Lily asked, "Are you staying indoors today?"
Yeah, I thought that was such a practical suggestion.
It really was. It shows that she understands how allergies work.
Mm-hmm.
Limiting exposure to pollen can make a huge difference.
Totally. It's like she's saying, hey, if you can stay inside, do it.
Yeah.
It might really help.
Exactly. And Jack's response, "I'll try to stay inside,"
Yeah,
shows that he appreciates her advice, but he's got those errands to run.
right. Life doesn't stop for allergies, unfortunately.
He doesn't.
I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Absolutely. It highlights the reality of managing everyday responsibilities
Yeah.
while dealing with those pesky allergy symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And it also reinforces that sometimes, even with the best intentions, complete avoidance of pollen is just not possible.
So true. Okay, so moving to the end of the conversation, I really like Lily's closing remark,
Okay.
where she says, allergies can be so frustrating, but you're handling it well.
Yes. That's a beautiful blend of empathy and encouragement. She validates his frustration, acknowledging that allergies are tough.
And then she goes a step further, right?
She does.
She tells him he's handling it well, which is such a supportive thing to say.
It is. It's like she's saying, "Hey, I know this is hard, but you've got this."
Yeah.
It's a great reminder that even when we're struggling, a little encouragement can go a long way.
I love that it's so powerful how language can create that feeling of connection and support.
Yeah.
Like imagine if she had just said, I hope you feel better.
Right.
It's nice,
Right.
but it doesn't have the same impact as acknowledging his efforts to cope.
Exactly. And this brings us to a crucial point.
Yeah.
The power of language in expressing empathy and offering support.
It's not just about the words themselves, but how we use them to create genuine connection and understanding.
You got it. So we've delved into the hidden layers of meaning in this conversation, uncovered those subtle nuances and intentions behind the words.
Yeah.
It's like we've peeled back the onion and revealed all those juicy layers.
I love that analogy. Okay,
Yeah.
so just to recap, we've seen how Lily and Jack use indirect language to be polite,
Right.
how a simple phrase can convey a lot of emotion,
Yes.
and how language can be used to offer genuine support and encouragement.
Absolutely. And in the final part of our deep dive, we're going to take everything we've learned and explore some practical tips for using this vocabulary and these expressions in your own English conversations.
Sound good?
It's going to be great.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive on talking about allergies in English.
Yes.
We've analyzed a real-life conversation, uncovered some hidden meanings,
Right.
and now it's time to put all that knowledge into practice.
Absolutely. We're going to give you the tools and confidence to use these words and expressions in your everyday English conversations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's start with those key vocabulary words we've been repeating throughout the episode.
Okay.
Runny nose, itchy eyes, pollen, antihistamines,
Yes.
congestion, nasal spray.
I love it.
Remember, repetition is your friend.
Repetition, repetition, repetition.
Okay.
Say them out loud, write them down, use them in sentences.
Yeah.
The more you practice, the more natural they will become.
All right, so let's imagine a scenario where you're talking to a friend who's having a rough time with allergies.
Okay.
You could start by saying something like, hey, are your allergies acting up again?
Yeah.
Remember that phrase, acting up?
Yes.
It's a natural way to ask if their allergies are bothering them.
Right. And if you want to be even more specific, you can ask, what's bothering you the most? Is it a runny nose, itchy eyes, or congestion?
Yes, and don't forget to show some empathy.
Yes.
You could say, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
Or, I can only imagine how uncomfortable that must
Really?
be.
Right.
It lets your friend know you understand what they're going through.
Absolutely.
Now, let's say your friend mentions they haven't taken any medication yet.
Okay.
You could offer a suggestion like, have you tried taking antihistamines?
Yeah.
Or maybe a nasal spray would help with the congestion.
Exactly.
And if they say they have taken antihistamines, but they haven't kicks in yet,
Right.
you can express understanding and say something like, I know that feeling. It can be frustrating waiting for relief.
It really can.
Right? Sharing those experiences and validating their feelings can make a big difference.
Absolutely.
And finally, remember Lily's encouraging words to Jack.
Yes.
You can do the same for your friend.
Of course.
Something like, allergies can be so frustrating, but you're handling it well. I hope you feel better soon.
I love that.
It's a simple but powerful way to offer support and let them know they're not alone in this.
Absolutely.
So we've gone from breaking down conversation to actually giving you the tools to have your own conversations about allergies in English.
Yeah.
So we've covered a ton of ground here,
Mm.
but this is just the tip of the iceberg, right?
Absolutely. We've laid the foundation, but there's so much more to explore. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the deep dive, where we're getting up close and personal with the language of flu.
It's real English in action, so make the most of this content.
Ooh,
Watch until the end to expand your vocabulary.
Yeah.
And get plenty of tips on how to talk about colds and allergies with confidence. And we have a great conversation to break down together.
Okay.
It starts with someone not feeling well.
All right.
And there were so many useful phrases packed in.
Let's jump right in.
Hey Mia, you seem a little under the weather. What's going on?
I'm not feeling great. I think I've caught the flu. I have a fever, chills, and my whole body hurts.
That sounds rough. Are you taking anything for it?
I've had some cough syrup and pain relievers, but I'm still feeling really fatigued.
Make sure to rest and drink lots of fluids. It'll help your body recover.
Thanks, Chris. I'll definitely do that and try to stay hydrated.
Take care, Mia. The flu is no joke, but you'll feel better soon.
Okay.
The first line is, hey Mia, you seem a little under the weather. What's going on? This right here is a gold mine for understanding indirect language.
That phrase, under the weather.
Yeah.
It's such a common way to say someone doesn't look quite right, isn't it?
Exactly.
Right.
Rather than bluntly stating, are you sick?
Right.
Which can feel too direct.
Yeah.
English speakers often use this softer expression,
Yeah.
under the weather, under the weather.
Under the weather.
Say it a few times. Let it sink in.
Under the weather.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those phrases you hear all the time.
Right.
It's like a code for, hey, I'm noticing you're not yourself, but I'm asking gently.
Right.
Yeah.
Now pay attention to how Mia responds.
Okay.
I'm not feeling great.
Ah.
I think I've caught the flu.
Okay.
I have a fever, chills, and my whole body hurts.
Caught the flu.
Yeah.
That's another one to repeat. Caught the flu, caught the flu. It's almost like you can catch the flu out in the wild.
I like that image.
Yeah.
And notice how she lays out her symptoms.
Oh, wait.
Fever,
Fever.
chills,
Chills.
body aches.
Body aches.
These are your go-to words when describing those classic flu symptoms.
It's so helpful to hear those words used naturally, isn't it?
It
It's like a little vocabulary toolkit for talking about how you feel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now let's see what Chris says.
Okay.
That sounds rough.
Uh-huh.
Are you taking anything for it?
That sounds rough. That's such a great phrase.
It is.
You can use it in so many situations, not just when someone's sick.
Right.
It's like a shortcut for expressing empathy and concern.
Yes.
I like that.
And are you taking anything for it?
Yeah.
Is how we ask about medication without being overly formal or intrusive.
Right.
Are you taking anything for it?
Are you taking anything for it?
Repeat that a few times to get comfortable with it.
Are you taking anything for it? Are you taking anything for it? It feels so much more natural than, say, have you ingested any pharmaceuticals to alleviate your symptoms?
Right. Everyday English is all about keeping things simple and straightforward.
Yeah, exactly.
Now Mia replies, I've been taking some cough syrup and pain relievers.
Okay.
Again, very common terms for those over-the-counter remedies.
Cough syrup, pain relievers. Cough syrup, pain relievers.
Exactly.
Simple and easy to remember.
Exactly. And speaking of pain relievers,
Yeah.
there are so many kinds out there. Aspirin, ibuprofen, acetaminophen.
Right.
These might have different names depending on where you are in the world,
Sure.
but they all fall under that umbrella term, pain relievers.
Wow. So much to learn.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating to see how these words fit into a real conversation.
Now, Chris offers some classic advice.
Yeah.
Make sure to rest and drink lots of fluids. It'll help your body recover.
Make sure to rest. It's almost like a gentle command.
Yeah.
Drink lots of fluids.
Yes.
That's another one we should repeat. Drink lots of fluids. Drink lots of fluids.
Yes.
It's like a health mantra.
It is, and it's a phrase you'll hear constantly in English, especially when someone is under the weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting how we often use the term fluids instead of just water. Drink lots of fluids, drink lots of fluids. It encompasses a whole range of beverages that can help you stay hydrated.
That makes sense. So it's not just about guzzling water.
Right.
It's about getting enough liquids in general.
Precisely. And along with drink lots of fluids, we have its close cousin, stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated, stay hydrated. Repeat it until it becomes second nature.
Okay.
These two phrases go hand in hand when talking about health in English.
It's like a dynamic duo of health advice. You hear them all the time.
Right?
Now let's see what Mia says next.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Uh-huh.
I'll definitely do that and try to stay hydrated.
Yeah.
I love how she picks up on that key phrase, stay hydrated.
It shows she's really absorbing the advice. And I'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
It demonstrates a commitment to following Chris's suggestions.
It's like saying, I hear you. I'm taking this seriously.
Right.
Now the conversation wraps up with Chris's well wishes.
Okay.
Take care, Mia.
Uh-huh.
The flu's no joke,
Right.
but you'll feel better soon.
Yeah.
Take care. Such a versatile phrase, isn't it?
It is.
It could be a simple goodbye,
Yeah.
but it also carries this weight of genuine concern and goodwill.
Right.
It's like a little hug at the end of a conversation. And I love how Chris adds, the flu is no joke.
Right.
It's a reminder that even though we've been breaking down the language in a lighthearted way,
Uh-huh.
the flu is something to take seriously.
Exactly. It injects a bit of gravity into the conversation without being overly dramatic.
Yeah.
It strikes a nice balance.
And ending with, you'll feel better soon,
Uh-huh.
it leaves Mia with a sense of hope.
Yeah.
It's reassuring, even if it's something we say all the time.
It is. It's a little reminder that this rough patch will pass.
You know, it's fascinating to see how much we can learn from just a short conversation like this.
Yeah.
We've uncovered so many useful phrases.
Right.
And hearing them used naturally really brings them to life.
It's amazing how much information is packed into even the most casual exchanges. And we've only just scratched the surface. There's still so much more to explore.
It's amazing how much we've uncovered just from
I know, right?
dissecting this seemingly simple conversation about the flu.
It's a testament to how much richness and nuance there is in everyday English.
So true.
And we've only just scratched the surface. There's still so much more to explore, but...
Before we wrap up, I want to emphasize something we've touched on throughout this deep dive.
Okay.
The power of repetition.
Yes.
It really is the key to internalizing new language.
Absolutely. Think of it like learning a musical instrument.
Oh, interesting.
You wouldn't expect to play a piece flawlessly after hearing it just once.
Right.
It takes practice repetition playing those notes over and over again until they become second nature.
It's the same with language. Don't be shy about repeating those key phrases we've discussed.
Yeah.
Under the weather, caught the flu, drink lots of fluids, stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
Say them out loud, write them down, use them in your own conversations.
The more you use them, the more they'll become part of your natural vocabulary.
It's all about building that fluency muscle. Now let's take a final look at some of the gems we've uncovered today.
Right.
Starting with under the weather.
Under the weather.
Such a classic way to express that someone isn't feeling their best.
Yeah, it's so much gentler than just bluntly asking, are you sick?
Right.
Right.
And then we have caught the flu.
Caught the flu.
It paints this picture of the flu as something you can catch,
Yeah.
almost like it's lurking around, waiting to pounce.
It's a great example of how even simple phrases can reveal subtle insights into how we think about illness.
I like that. That sounds rough.
That sounds rough.
Another one of those versatile phrases that conveys empathy and concern in so many situations.
Right.
It's like a shortcut to showing you care.
And then, are you taking anything for it? A go-to way to inquire about medication without being intrusive?
Yeah.
It strikes that perfect balance of being casual yet concerned.
Make sure to rest and drink lots of fluids. Those timeless words of wisdom that we've all heard countless times.
Yeah.
But hearing them used in a real conversation helps solidify their importance.
And of course, we can't forget, stay hydrated.
Stay hydrated.
It's practically a mantra for health and well-being in English.
It's amazing how these seemingly simple phrases form the building blocks for confident and natural conversations about health.
And remember, this deep dive is just the beginning. The real learning happens when you take these phrases and start using them in your own life.
So go out there and practice.
Yeah.
Talk to your friends, family, colleagues. The more you use your English, the more comfortable and confident you'll become.
And as always, we're here to support you on your language learning journey.
Awesome. Well, we hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of allergies and English vocabulary. We had a lot of fun unpacking this conversation and sharing these tips with you.
We did, and remember, we're always here to help you on your English learning journey. So be sure to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into fascinating topics.
Help us grow by subscribing and giving a thumbs up. Write down in the comments the words you learned and the topics you'd like us to explore next. And don't forget to drop a flag emoji of your country. We'd love to know where you're watching from.
So until next time, keep practicing, stay curious, and never stop exploring the fascinating world of English.
That's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a new and exciting topic. Until then, happy learning.